Hello and welcome everyone. My guest today is a private acting coach and mentor. She's also been a successful actor for the last 30 years. Please welcome Raquel Gardner.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. A little
It's going on.
crazy day today, but we're managing.
Yeah, it's going as good as it can be, I'm sure.
Yeah, where are you at? Are you on the East Coast?
So I used to be in New York, but I'm actually in Salt Lake City of all places.
Really?
The entertainment hub, Salt Lake City.
I love Salt Lake City actually in the summertime. It's amazing. I went zip lining in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great place to get away from the insanity that is New York. So I needed a change of scenery, so I did that, and
Good for you.
I've kind of stayed here. But I'm in Los Angeles very frequently. Well, I used to be, not so much anymore. Now I'm just there remotely talking to people
everything
like you.
is virtual, right?
Yep. Who knows when I'll get back on a plane? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been on a plane either yet.
Yeah,
kind of bizarre. In fact, I was on hold for a commercial and almost had to go to Salt Lake City. The commercial was shooting in Salt Lake.
Oh.
It was an Oreo commercial, but I didn't get it, so.
Oh, dang it. Well,
that's all right.
Next time, let me know and we can hang out behind a glass partition.
Yeah, with a mask, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to know, how and when did you become an acting coach? So that's it's not something that a lot of people do. So I'm curious about that.
Well, I've been an actor all my life, all my adult life, and I love the business so much. I mean, and the business has struggles, ups and downs, but I love it, and I love that challenge. And about 7 years ago, a really, really good girlfriend of mine who I've known for 25 years is a well-known African-American actress, and she started a school back in 2014 and asked me if I wanted to be one of her teachers at the school. And at the time, I had no desire to be a teacher at all.
Sure.
I was still I was an actor and I was doing a bunch of stuff, but I was feeling, it was weird because I felt like it had come at the right time, because I was feeling as though, why am I still doing this after 25 years? And why do I still have such a passion for it? And what am I going to do with all of this information that I have? Because I have so much information. And she's like, Rocky, that's my nickname. She's like, Rocky, please, I want you to be a teacher at my school. Just try it out for a year. I literally fought her tooth and nail. I kept saying no. She kept coming back to me. My boyfriend at the time was like, you're crazy if you don't do this. I literally took off and went to Bali for 2 weeks. I was like, can't do it. And so I thought about it, and I said, okay, I will do it when I come back. And if I don't like it, don't be mad at me if I leave. And 2.5 years I worked for her, and it was like something changed in me. It like opened up this world to me, and I felt like I was in the place I was supposed to be in, and I was helping actors, and I was feeling so good about myself, and so good that I was helping people and being of service, because I was in such a selfish business for so many years, thinking about myself, only myself, and I was now able to, help the next generation of actors not go through all the pitfalls that I did, and felt like, God, at least if I can help them. And then I started the Actors Mark in 2016, and here I've been, just building it and growing. And it's been amazing.
That's great. I think a lot of people, I could see your hesitation with that at the beginning, because you wonder, like, I have this information, but can I teach that effectively, or do I even want to? And then when you feel like you have made an impact on someone's career, or you've helped someone in some way, like you said, avoid those pitfalls or not make the same mistakes that you did, that we all do when we're trying something. I think that would be extremely rewarding. And I could see.
I think everybody's a teacher. I really do. I think that inside of ourselves, I think we all have that ability to lead and to teach. it's just, you really have to be surrender to allow yourself to tap into something like that for your life. And I think that when we're young and we're in our 20s and 30s, in this business, it's difficult because you're feeling very self-absorbed to try to build something within yourself so that you can move forward in a business that is, it's very challenging, this business at times, but the challenge is the journey. And
Yeah.
I feel like for me as a coach, I have developed the most amazing relationships with my students and my actors, and I'm extremely honest and very, I just, my heart is in it. My heart is in it for them. And I love, it's like I call them my kids. I feel like they're my kids because
Yeah.
I desperately and deeply have a desire to see them succeed. And so I will be a little hard on them, but in a loving way that makes them feel supported and not, because sometimes I've been through some classes with coaches in the past where you just walk away from that class feeling so defeated and so beat up. And I, said to myself, I do not want to be that kind of coach, but I do want to challenge my students.
No, for sure. And I think that's what separates acting schools, from the great ones, and acting coaches from, not so great to great, because so often you see it's just like, just come in and just pay for it. And the acting school or the instructor doesn't really care who takes it, doesn't care about the student, doesn't know their name, just, it doesn't follow up, doesn't invest themselves in their career. And that's great to hear that it's something that you take personally and you care about these people.
I had a student come in, and my coaching process in my classes, I have very small, intimate classes. I am more about quality than I am about quantity. Yes, everybody needs to make a living, and yes, including myself, I need to make a living, and I am offering my time and my services, right, and my knowledge. But I'm an artist. It's never been about the financial gain for me. It's been about, am I growing as a person? Am I growing as an artist? So in my classes, they're very small. They're very intimate. And one of my students came in and was studying with me for a while. And I asked him if he would do a testimonial for me. And he, in the testimonial, was so adamant about saying, she knew my name. And I approached him and I said, Mikey is one of my students. Mikey, I said, Mikey, did past coaches not know your name? And he goes, do you know how many classes I went into? And one, I would get up maybe once a month. But two, they never knew who I was. And you, Raquel, knew who I was. Every time I would come in, you would hug me. You would say, hey, Mikey, how's your week? He goes, you knew me. And it made me feel so supported. And I feel like that's super important for actors to need, because we're out here by ourselves. Our families are elsewhere. We need a support group.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I started our private Facebook lounge. I started a private members lounge on Facebook. And the reason why I did that, because I wanted something where actors could go and talk to other actors, get advice from other actors, and affordably get a couple classes, get access to all my resources, and feel like they're part of a community of growing actors that are working,
Yeah, that's great. And it's always been important, but even more so now, where people can feel very isolated and alone and wondering what is the next step for me. And so having that kind of community is super important.
Yeah.
So you've studied with a lot of great coaches such as Margie Haber, Howard Fine. There's a lot more that you've studied with. Can you recall an instance, because I've had this in my own experiences with different things, where maybe you've learned something and maybe it's been taught to you a few different times, but there's that moment where something's like, it clicks and you realize, I've been approaching this the wrong way this whole time. And maybe there's something that a coach gave to you that you then took that and changed your approach towards your craft?
Oh my goodness. Yes, so many things. But one that definitely sticks in my mind is the power of preparation. I looked at my career when I was in my 20s and 30s as it was more about this. I came from the modeling world. I was a swimwear model, a fitness model. And although I knew that it was the art was in me, I had grown up thinking the outside was the most important. And my coaches would always say, focus on what's going on the inside, focus on what's going on. And for years, it was hard for me to accept my individuality and my uniqueness and who I was, and know that it's not about what's going on out here. Because I mean, look at the acting world, you know, and especially now, it's so diverse and it's so opened up, and there's just so many beautifully talented, amazing people that are out there that have, I mean, to me, what I learned was that beauty is, it comes in so many different forms. And I love the fact that I get to play characters that are rough around the edges, that have had hard things happen in their lives. And now, before, I was so scared and nervous to do a self-tape or even go to an audition with no makeup on and trying to play that character, because I thought, oh God, are they going to think I'm this and that? And now I totally embrace it. And I encourage my actors to embrace it. In fact, if you speak to any one of my actors, I am huge about this, especially in my goal coaching, when I goal coach them. And I do a series of an hour and a half goal coaching session. And I talk about online profiles, especially with casting networks, because you guys are a huge online platform. And thankfully, I mean, God bless you guys. You have transformed the way that we cast, you know, that we get cast and stuff, and to get us out there. And I know people go, oh, casting networks, you know, is $25 a photo or this or that. But let me tell you something. Back in the day, you were spending hundreds, thousands of dollars on your pictures and getting you would have to go to a retoucher that would have to paint the retouching on your photo. And it would charge you like $75 an hour. So people don't realize that this is totally streamlined. And I love it, because what you have, like, you guys have this link that you can share, you know, and I say to my actors, when you're doing a goal coaching session, share your link. That is your calling card from casting networks. Then they can go on and they can see everything that they need. And you don't need to, you know, send these downloads and all this, because agents and casting directors are not going to download anything.
Right.
Just the bottom line. So God bless you guys for doing that. But the one thing that I say to my students, especially when I goal coach them, is your individuality is your calling card. Your uniqueness is your calling card. So the one thing I am super adamant about teaching is self-love and like self-appreciation of your differences and who you are, and to pull out that in yourself instead of trying to be what you think everybody wants you to be, right? This is what's going to separate you and get you working, is you being an individual and appreciating that.
Right.
So it's one thing I teach and I coach a lot on.
Yeah. Do you remember your first audition that you ever went on, and what it was for and how you approached it at the time and all that?
Oh, yes. I was very young. I was in Chicago, and my mother was living with me in Chicago because I was 16 years old and I had gone there for the summer. Oh, this is a very and it was for a Disney, some type of Disney cruise or Disney styled cruise where I had to sing and act. Now, I'm not a singer, but at the time I wanted to be a singer, right?
Sure.
And I had to do 2 different auditions. And I went into the audition and I had to cry in the audition. And I had been working with my mom on it. And I'm a super sensitive person at heart, right? So I can cry at heart. And I was 16 years old, and I've been working with my mom on the material and feeling like I could get myself to tears. And I was almost there, and now I'm young, right? I've only taken maybe 1 or 2 classes. And I walk into the audition, and I could not get the tears out. And I walked, and I'm in the audition, and I can feel myself outside of myself looking down at me going, you need to cry. What is wrong with you? Cry. And I couldn't cry. And I open up the door, my mom is in the waiting room, and I walk out. And the minute I shut that door, I just burst into tears. And my mom, because my mom goes, how did it go? And I was like, I couldn't cry. And I'm bawling.
Yeah.
And from that moment, I realized I can't hold on to the expectation of what I think I need to do. I mean, that's really where I was. I was like, I need to let all this expectation go. And I learned the art of letting go at a really young age, and made it important for me to live in the moment. And I think that's when I transformed really to like want to be an actor.
Yeah.
Because I knew that it was something that I wanted to experience.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure you were very nervous going into that audition. I'm sure you're still nervous sometimes going into auditions.
Rarely now.
Rarely now?
Yeah, and I tell my students this, rarely now, because something shifted in me a few years ago. Maybe it's because I've been coaching so much, and I'm actually practicing what I teach all the time. And I think it's actually it sits in me now. I don't get nervous in auditions. I don't get nervous in self-tapes. And if I do, it's very minimal. And I'll tell you why, because I'm very prepared. And that's why the nervousness goes away when you're prepped.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
It's a different feeling. Like I always use the analogy of an athlete with acting. If you look at a pro baseball player, that pro baseball player gets on the field and has an adrenaline energy, but it's not a nervousness that he can't perform, because he practices his art every single day. And he knows exactly what he's supposed to do when something comes at him in a certain way. And so for me, what I teach my actors is my job as a coach is to teach you how to maneuver any situation that comes at you, whether you're in a self-tape, whether you're in a Zoom call, whether you're in the audition room, whether you're in a callback with 20 people, including the network in the room, or whether you're in a screen test. I have to teach you, my job is to teach you how to maneuver all these situations so that you're not surprised by what comes at you. And that's where the nervousness comes in. Because you're walking into a room, you don't know what to expect.
Right. Yeah, you often hear that an actor will say, I'm great once I'm on stage or once I'm on camera, but I cannot audition. I hate it. I'm not good at auditioning. It makes me nervous. And I get it, because it is hard. It is something that you have to work on. So you mentioned preparation is one thing that you can do to overcome those nerves.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's the biggest thing you can do. And what kind of preparation is a whole other animal. But, if I could just quickly give you, a rundown of it. For an actor, when you have an audition for, say, something that's very large, like a series regular or a reoccurring or a supporting in a film or leading a film, your job and your preparation is to build the history of that person so that when you're talking about something in your script, you have images that come up in your mind and memories that come up in your mind that associate with those words that you have to say or those sentences that you have to say, so that you have a full life. You also want to create a backstory for that person. And if you have the time to do this, how do they feel about love? How do they feel? What's their social status growing up? How do they feel about money? Did they come from a good family or a bad family? And usually when you can break that down, which by the way, I have a whole PDF on that for people, but if you can break that down simplistically, it fills you up as a person so that you can approach this openly and let go in the audition because you've done the work before. You know, it's really a good way to alleviate nerves.
I'm sure it's a great way to memorize as well, because if I'm trying to memorize these sides that I have, I'm like, I can't remember. And I'm just looking at the words and I'm not looking at the character. But if I look at that character and do the things that you suggested and build that life around them, then the words should come out a little bit more natural and you should start to remember.
I mean, are you guys hearing this? This guy is not an actor. Tommy, you're not an actor and you totally just got that. That is exactly it. I am not kidding you. I don't have it with me. It's my breaking down the material. I'm going to send you my PDF and you are going to, the first thing is, it's exactly that. You are not supposed to memorize when you first get your material. You do not memorize. You look at the material as a whole, right? From the writer's perspective, because the writer isn't writing just for you. The writer's writing for the whole script. The writer's writing for every character. And so your character you might get a lot of juice of what you can use from what the other character is saying. So the problem that actors have is they pick up the material, right? And I have an audition in front of me. They pick up material and they go, okay, what is my character saying? That's the biggest mistake you can make. Yeah. If you pick up the material and you go, let me read this as a story, let me write a one-pager on what's happening in this story. Like, this woman is trying to protect her daughter. Her daughter is over the fact that she's overprotective. They're having a struggle, blah, blah, blah. This is what you should be writing, not me, 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 me. And then when you do that, then you create your whole, you don't memorize yet still. Now you start to make choices for your character and decide, who is she? What kind of personality does she have? What makes her tick? What, where'd she come from? Like all that stuff we just talked about. And then once you start making those choices, then you memorize, because now you're going to memorize with the choices. Instead of trying to blankly memorize, you won't hold on to the material. And this is the problem that young actors make. Yeah. That's the problem they have.
I'm sure. And I can tell you, well, I'm not an actor, but I have watched, I don't even know how many thousands of auditions.
That's amazing.
Tons of them. And you can tell the difference of when an actor is doing that and learning that character and when they're just saying lines. So if you can do that first part, like you said, you're already one step ahead of the other 100 people who are auditioning. Now, they're not to say that other people won't be doing that as well, but there are going to be a chunk that won't. And those are typically the people who aren't going to get cast.
A majority, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why preparation is key. New actors come to me and they go, what should I do, Raquel? I want to get an agent. And I say, have you trained? That's the first order of business. Yeah. First order of business. And I go, I don't even care if you train with me. I'm not telling you, I'm not pushing you to train with me. I'm just pushing you to train, because it's too competitive now. This world is so competitive. This business is so competitive. You guys know this more than anybody, casting networks, because 10,000 submissions are coming in on one commercial, right? Yeah. I talked to Mel and Liz. I've talked to Dowd Roman. I was an agent for 3 years with Pacific Talent and Models. I was a commercial agent with them for 3 years, and I did all the submissions. So I know your platform inside and out, and rightfully so. That's why I'm qualified to do a goal coaching session on people to help them build their online profiles to secure an opportunity to get seen by more casting directors, because they're looking at little thumbnails, but the truth is it's so competitive out there. You've got to be on top of your game. And if you don't come at it with a structure of some type of foundation in your internal work as an actor, you could be as gorgeous as you want to be, but if you can't step up to the plate, you got to be careful with the opportunities that come in front of you, because if you get those opportunities, you might not get a second opportunity for a long time with that casting director if you're green.
Right.
That's the truth.
No, that's great advice.
Yeah.
So with nerves, what exactly are nerves and how do I identify them? Is that just anxiety? Is it just like feeling like imposter syndrome, or like, how would you describe like I'm nervous, or I have nerves about this? How can I break that down?
I think it's kind of everything that you just said. You know, there's a lot of different, um, I think for different people, different forms of nerves come in. And for some, it could be, I'm not good enough. And you've got that feeling going on, which creates a bigger feeling inside, and you kind of let it escalate. Not knowing how you're getting an opportunity, but you don't know how to prepare, right? Happens to a lot of actors. The nerves come in because they're wanting it so badly, right? They think that this is the end all do all, and they've been given the opportunity. And if they don't get this particular opportunity, then one is never going to come again. And that's not true. But it might take a while if you're not prepped. So I think actors have a lot of different reasons why they have nerves. They might have social anxiety, period.
Yeah.
And might need to take some kava or, you know, or
Yeah.
not do caffeine before an audition. Like, these are simple strategies that will help an actor. You know, listen, in actors, this is my tool. My body, my face, my mind is my tool, right?
Yeah.
I need to get in touch with this tool. And I need to know what makes this tool shake, what makes this tool not feel good enough, what makes this tool nervous around somebody that I think has the ability to change my life. And so I think for me, what I teach first and foremost is to build your self-esteem. And I have a book, and I don't have it down here because I'm reading it again, and it's called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. And first of all, I think every human being should read this book, because it's a book that teaches you what we don't learn in school and what we don't learn from most of our peers and parents and people, is that a strong, healthy self-esteem is the most important thing in life.
Yeah.
For any career,
Right.
for any relationship. And so I always teach actors, work on that. Because if you can build that and build your confidence level, then you'll start to understand that these people are not in control of your life. You are. You're in control. And if you want to be nervous and you can't figure out how to alleviate it, well, then let's work on utilizing it. Let's work on letting it help you in what you're doing, because you can't get rid of it. You cannot get rid of an emotion. It lives inside of you.
Right.
But how can you use it? How can you listen, I know some people may think I'm crazy, but I say, hey, listen, nerves, I appreciate you, because sometimes I need you, but I don't need you right now. So I need you to sit back while I focus on my audition, and while I focus on being present with my casting director or my reader, so that I can have fun at this and I can enjoy it, because that's really what it's all about. And if you're an actor and you're not having a good time, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
You want to have fun, right? Life should be fun. It shouldn't be so much hard work all the time. Who told us that? Who are the people that told us it has to be so hard? It shouldn't be. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah.
You should be enjoying it. And
exactly.
Yeah, I think, like, for me, I definitely cannot drink coffee before I have a big meeting or before this live stream. Drink a lot of water. So there's little stuff like that you can do to prep before the audition, but also just making sure that you are prepared and that you realize that you're good enough to be there, because that's why you're there, is important.
Yeah, 100%.
So some actors will use a pre-audition routine that they follow before every audition. Do you have some examples of some that you've seen in the past?
I do. I have some that I teach too. Um, one is obviously locating your tension in your body, which a lot of coaches will do this as a prep work, you know, and when you come into class or going to an audition. Locate your tension, move around. What I do not encourage actors to do is to be still. I don't encourage actors to be still and to sit somewhere. And I mean, you can meditate for 5 or 10 minutes before your audition, but you got to locate, if you're feeling nervous, you got to locate some tension. Figure out where that tension is in your body. Do you hold your tension in your shoulders? You know, do you hold it in your neck? Do you hold it in your stomach? And move around and like try to move it. You know what I'm saying? You can have you can vocally move it around. Like a lot of times in classes, I'll teach like vocalization, like getting sounds out, just sounds like, how does that tension sound to you? Like move it around. Another thing is talk it out. Talk out the tension. You're in your car. Who cares if somebody thinks you're crazy? You want to get the job, or do you want somebody to think you're crazy? Right? So talk out the tension. I'm nervous. Okay, I'm nervous. Why am I nervous? What am I nervous about, Raquel? Why do I feel so nervous? I feel nervous because there's a lot riding on this opportunity. I could really use a change in my life. Okay, that's great. All right. So are you going to have a good time? And you talk yourself through it, you know, and it helps. It really does help alleviate some of that pressure on yourself. Meditation, writing, you know, some people do The Actor's Way. I don't know if you've heard of that book, The Actor's Way. You get up in the morning and you do just kind of drain your brain in 3 pages and just get it out, get it out, and then read it and see, oh, that doesn't look good. I don't want to be thinking that kind of stuff. You know, those are good ways to alleviate nerves. I'm also just huge on put that nervous energy into your character. Why are you trying to fight it if it's there? Yeah. Use it. You know, it's okay. It's okay to use that. You're playing a person. Right. That person has emotions. So maybe for you, maybe that's your spirit. Maybe that's God, the universe, whoever you decide, telling you this is how you should be playing this character. And you're fighting it and it keeps coming at you. So maybe you just need to surrender. Yeah.
Oh, those are all great tips. Things that can help. And I'm hoping that actors will try that out, because I hear a lot of people they just get really stressed out before an audition, even before a self-tape. So, you know, obviously right now there's a lot of self-taping going on. The advantage of a self-tape is that I don't have a casting director or their clients watching me in a tape. They're not watching me perform. I can do as many takes as I want to make sure I get that right.
Well, that could be a problem too, though. Can I give you some quick self-tape tips for actors?
Yep. I love it.
First of all, self-taping is absolutely great, but you want to make sure that you don't go down that rabbit hole of perfectionism, because I always tell my students, no more than 4 or 5 takes, and that's even too much, I think. I say if you're doing your prep work and you're really ready, then you should be doing 3 takes only and just walk away. Because what happens is you will go crazy looking and trying to make it better and trying to make it better. Now, if you are not connected, maybe you need to step away from your self-tape altogether and get yourself more prepped and ready, because it shouldn't take more than 4 takes, right? I'm giving you one more. I always say for myself, I give myself 3. That's it. I'm like, 3 takes, I'm done, I'm gone. Because I prepped, I'm ready to go. But if you're a beginner actor and you're a little bit harder on yourself, 4 takes. If you want to do 5, okay, but that's crazy. You also want to make sure that you're allowing yourself the opportunity to let go in your self-tape. If you're feeling pressured, again, don't try to wait till the last minute to do your self-tape. It's the problem that happens with actors. If your self-tape is due at 6 o'clock, you do the self-tape at 3. You got to take this business seriously, because the actors that you are watching on TV right now that you admire, they are taking every moment of their business like a business. They're taking it serious. And if you approach it like that and say, this is my business, right? This is my self-owned business, and this is part of my business, because the opportunity to meet a casting director, get in front of a casting director. This is the other thing I say that can alleviate some nervousness. Don't have expectations that you need to get this job. Go in there, self-tape to make an impression on the casting director. Go in there trying to create a relationship, a longevity with your relationship with the casting director, because you just might not be right for the role if they're putting together an ensemble, but you will make an impression on them that they won't forget, and you will definitely go into a folder of people that they will bring back. And that, to me, is ultimately what you want to do. You want to book the room, not the auditions per se. And that alleviates some nervousness in you of feeling like, oh my God, I got to get this job.
Right.
So.
And that's great advice about not procrastinating as well, because I think a couple casting directors have said this on these interviews. Sometimes they'll look at every single video, and some said, nope, 6 p.m. I'm done. I'm not looking at any more. So it just varies. It's not, it's going to vary from one casting office to another, but why take that risk?
And it's not their, it's not the casting director's fault. The casting directors are human beings as well, and they have a job. And honestly, I could speak probably for every casting director out there that if they didn't put boundaries on this kind of stuff, people would completely overwhelm them and take advantage of the situation, because actors are selfish. And I know, I'm an actor, and you have to respect the industry, people. Actors, listen, you have to respect the industry. You have to respect these casting directors. They have a lot coming at them. Let's not even talk about the actors and all the submissions that they have to look at. Let's talk about the director and the agencies and the producers and the networks that they have to deal with, aside from all the actors. So I 100% respect casting directors.
Yeah, and they got deadlines too, so it's not just arbitrary, it's for a reason.
Exactly.
So the flip side of self-tape is there are a lot of callbacks right now that will be through Zoom or another video conferencing software. Should I be approaching these types of auditions in a different way, or should I be approaching them the same way as I always have when I go into a callback?
I think a little bit, that's a really good question, Tommy. And I say that you want to approach your Zoom callbacks as if you were going into an in-person audition, but the difference is you're here. This is your framing. So it's almost like when I teach framing, you're right here. So you don't want to be as big as you normally would, because the director's looking at this as if you're in a close-up, and he's just like, she's moving all over the place, I can't see. So you have to realize you have to adjust yourself to your framing. And right now, if you're doing a Zoom with somebody and they've got you, chest up, everything's got to be here in your eyes. It has to be a subtle, you've got to know how you have to really, your skills really come into play, because you have to know, how do I really feel about what this person is saying to me? Because it has to convey through my emotions, not through my actions. So you do have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, it's a tricky world right now with
but you know what? It's if you approach it from, I can make the adjustments, I can do this, this is where the industry is going, and I'm going to flow with the stream, you'll work. But if you try to fight against it, and you are a complainer, and you are a person that's like, I can't handle these changes, and oh my God, all this stuff is happening, and I don't know how to adjust, and you need to go take a look in the mirror and get a handle on that, because that's really what's going to keep you from moving forward. Not what we're doing,
Right.
what you're doing.
The most important thing I've been telling people right now is to adjust and pivot and adapt, because those that do will be successful, and those that don't will be left behind. It's just kind of how it is.
And that's just straight business advice.
Exactly.
And that's just straight human advice.
Right.
Right? I mean, aren't we always changing?
Yeah.
You know, aren't we always evolving as humans? Like, you're in Salt Lake City now. You know, I bet you if you looked at the last 3 years of your life, you'd be like, what the hell? You know, I never anticipated all this stuff. First of all, none of us in the world ever anticipated any of this happening, right?
Yeah.
So some stuff is just out of our control, and it's about what you focus your energy on, you know. And actors, like, if it's something out of your control, like the way the business is moving, this is not in your control. Just flow. Allow yourself to surrender to it. It'll give you a lot less sleepless nights.
I could use some of those. So tell me about the Actors Mark, and kind of what you do, the services you provide to actors. We talked about it a little bit in terms of private coaching and the classes that you give out, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about it.
Yes. Well, the Actors Mark is an acting community. I don't like to call it an acting studio or an acting school. It's a community, and I primarily I do mostly private coaching and goal coaching of actors, of a lot of working actors that are on set. I work with working actors. I also do a lot of online classes. Right now I'm currently doing a 6-week intensive course that I do every 6 weeks. And that is geared for self-taping, building a foundation, and developing a really strong craft so that it works across the board for whatever you're doing. We go into a lot of scene study work, like I was talking about, building the backstory, and I work with actors on how to do that. We have our online Facebook profile, our lounge, our private lounge that puts actors together. I'm just available for actors, and I really want to help actors move to the next level in their career. So I'm really personal about how I adapt to what they need, but primarily that's what we're doing now. I mean, I was doing all my in-person classes, and then obviously COVID hit and I had to switch everything over to online, which has actually worked just fine. I've got my actors doing scenes together, and I'm in my class right now currently on Tuesdays, and we have a new one starting I think in 2 weeks on Thursdays, and it's from 5 to 8. But I give the actors a scene. I give all the actors the same scene. And I have 12 people in my class right now. I cap it at 12, and I cap it at an even number because I don't want to do more than 12. I want everybody to work every class. I feel like I've been a part of classes where there's 45, 50 people in a class, and you're just... 2-3 weeks go by, and I mean, it's hard-earned money. I know what it's like. I've spent thousands of dollars on acting classes, so I know that it is not easy to pay for an acting class. And when you do, you want to work. You don't want to be sitting there just watching the whole time. Now, granted, you're getting really great information if you're watching, and that's why I like to do the same scene, because everybody can get information that they can utilize, because everybody's doing the same work. And also teach actors that there is no competition in this business. I'm sorry, I'm a firm believer that you can look at it as competition, but if you're prepared and you're doing what you have to do, it shouldn't be about competition. It should be about you doing your work. And if your best friend looks just like you, I have a best friend that's coming on my live tomorrow, and we complement each other, but we look the same and we go out for the same stuff. But we encourage each other, because I don't want to get that envious, jealous feeling inside, and that creates just negative energy around my work. But basically, so back to my class. So we all do the same scene, and I encourage the actors to rehearse over Zoom, over Skype, and then they do the scene together. And you know what? It's been working perfectly.
That's awesome.
And they're growing. And so any actor that is making the excuse that, oh no, during COVID, I prefer to be in person. Okay, good for you. But you're going to be sitting behind the game when everybody else is moving up
Yeah.
because they're adapting.
No, that's true. And I think right now, like we had mentioned before, just community is just so important, and making sure that you have people who are lifting you up, and even if you go out for the same roles and you're the same type, not competition, lift each other up. Everybody knows everybody in some way, and the more connections you have, the better you'll be in the long run.
Look at Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
He uses all the same actors. And all those same actors are friends and they work together. And look at Ryan Murphy, using all the same actors, and all those same actors are really good friends. And it is a community. When you get to that level, it is a tight working community, and everybody treats it like a business. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's a business. It's
Yeah,
a business of show.
You want to work with people that you enjoy being around. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Every
And
business
you're
is
going to
like
work
that.
with some people you don't enjoy being around.
Yeah, that's true. Got to deal with both. Well, this has been amazing and wonderful, and I
Yes.
think refreshing and helpful. So thank you so much for doing this. I don't know if there's any last words of advice or anything you want to leave off as we're.
I just want to say thank you to Casting Networks for giving us a platform to show what we're capable of. I'm just thankful to you guys, and obviously this is not a selling tool at all. Nobody told me to say this, but I'm just appreciative of the online platform that you guys provide, so that we have new actors have a place to show what they are capable of, and to start building a foundation for themselves, and for you guys to throw these lives on and to do these interviews is really allowing smaller companies like myself to get out there and get the word out there, so that people can know that we're here for them. And without you guys, we wouldn't really have that opportunity. So I just want to say thank you to you guys for allowing that for us. And I look forward to all of the new things that are coming in the future.
Thank you. Well, that's great to hear. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And thanks again.
And I'm here if you want to do any interviews about anything, or I'm willing to do some free mini pop-up classes for you guys on, breaking down material or prepping for an audition, all that stuff. I'm open. So you just let me know whenever you want that. I will offer that to you guys for sure.
Will do. And I'm sure we'll talk more.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Raquel. And
okay.
Talk to you later.
All right. Bye, you guys. Thank you. Thanks, Tommy.